has been nothing but nothing but love for the last couple weeks. Yeah, I went to see old Louis C.K. on Friday. Still got it.
That must have been good.
He was
Hell
he was
yeah.
actually like really
Love
really
that dude.
decent. One of the opening acts was even funny, which is all right. Let me let everybody know we're live.
We're live.
All right, so this is episode 4 of IRC D&D. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in, who is just pretty much the people in Pound LRH, because I'm setting it as the topic right there. All right, so yeah, welcome everybody. This is a online Dungeons and Dragons game, second edition, and the catch is that everybody is an IRC user and has been for many years, including the dogs and cats and stuff that you see in the background. I'm Zach ZYZ, telling this story. Then we have Angie, our ranger, to my left, Kuntz, the fire mage, in the center, Logic, the thief, down there at the bottom left, and then Zartet, our druid, in a watery underwater kingdom. So Funkpower is asking if we are live. We're 100% live right now. Shit is always live. All right, and so every week we have Zartet recount our adventure thus far. He's our official historian and archivist, if you would please.
From the beginning, from session 1, again?
Yeah, always from the top.
All right. I'm going to keep it, try to high level,
Yeah,
because
yeah, that's fine.
it's a little
Yeah, it's getting lengthy.
long.
Although, honestly, it's fun to me to hear the whole thing every time.
All right, well,
Yeah.
let's see.
Like 40
Session
minutes
1,
long. Session 10.
the Legion Slaver. Session 1 saw our party caught in a storm, and the boat we were on was battered while on our way to King Geordie in the city of Iran to answer to him for a drunken night where one of us may have pissed on a king's men. The storm broke our boat and we languished, caught notice of a Legion slaver Trieme rowing towards us. We broke out on our dinghy after fashioning a makeshift second oar, but not before Kuntz raided the captain's quarters and stole a golden goblet, which he hid in his jock. At first, we didn't know where the storm had pushed us, but Zartet was able to determine that the storm appeared to have moved us in a circle, and we were on the west coast of Pies, still far from our destination. The Legion continued to relentlessly pursue us on land, but Zartet was able to stall them somewhat through the timely use of an entangle spell. Eventually, as we ventured further inland, with the Legion still pursuing, we came upon Big Earl and his men outside the town of Borg. Logic, who has a history with Big Earl, was not able to convince the men of the impending raid by the Legion, but Zartet was able to implore them to advance uphill to fight the Legion from higher ground. As we moved up the hill, it became apparent that the Legion had already descended on Borg and had begun torching the village. It also became apparent that King Geordie's men on the hill had also been watching, and with their help, the party was able to end the siege of the town. At night, while resting in Borg, Zartet has a vision about a dream of a red comet looming in the east over Darameus. Eamon Grayson, a friend of the family that provided us with shelter that night and meals, warned us that strange things are afoot. After some deliberation, we decide to head east towards the comet and towards Vera Brink and Pies, where we are likely to be able to catch a ship. It was discussed that whatever plans King Geordie had for us are not good plans, and that we should do our best to avoid him and his men. Our thinking is that with news from Aemon that trade is being disrupted because of whatever calamity is befalling Darameus, Geordie will be preoccupied, allowing us to slip away. Amos gives us all farm equipment as weapons, and also provides Zartet with a silver ring that is claimed to provide protection. There's a worn away etching of what appears to be a triangle on the silver ring. Zartet is also equipped with a shovel handle, Logic with a pitchfork, Angie a bow and arrow, and Kuntz a claw hammer. After a big breakfast, we begin our trek east, following the eastern foothills of the mountains. We come across a dead guy in the ravine. He had some black powder on him that wasn't explosive, but we also find some other weapons and gold. He had a tattoo on his forearm of two entwined snakes with fangs at each other's throats, some kind of affiliation that we still don't know about. We continue through the ravine and later spotted by a group of men who turn and run away from us. We decide not to chase after them, but we do send Logic ahead east to scout ahead, and he comes across a smokestack. Upon coming up to the smokestack, he notices it belongs to a forge, where we meet a man named Bisbee. He's a short man with a broken arm. He tells us of marauders who have been harassing and stealing from him. He's a kindly old man who offers him whiskey and food while retelling his story. He advises that these marauders were posing as Morian militiamen, um, and he asks us to help him recover his weapons. Um, at night, we backtrack some and come across the lair of these marauders, which is a cave at the foot of a large overhanging cliff. We send Kuntz and Angie to the top of the cliff and try to get Logic to bait out these marauders, but they don't fall for our little ploy there, and they just prove to be quite chicken shit otherwise. Um, Zartet signals for Kuntz and Angie to descend the cliffs after we're able to kind of bring the marauders under our wings somewhat. And while Logic is able to get the marauders to surrender quite easily, and their cave appears to be all of the weapons they've stolen from Bisbee, and they offer to return them. However, while this is going on, Angie comes across some real soldiers that were also descending the cliff, and they appeared to be plotting an ambush on us in the cave, and probably the marauders too. Angie lets loose an arrow, downs one of the soldiers, who lets out a yelp. Upon hearing this, Logic and Zartet grab weapons and exit the cave. While it's dark and not much can be seen, Logic is once again gravely injured. I forgot to mention he was injured. He was almost dead once when we fell into the ravine to get that guy, but he almost dies again here after getting injured by the slashing blade of one of the soldiers. With his sword raised for the finishing blow, Zartet impales the soldier with a spear from a distance. Kuntz, who is also descending the cliff behind Angie, fires off magic missiles, and Angie continues to lay waste to the rest of the ambushing soldiers with most of the rest of her arrows. All of the soldiers are now dead, and we pile their bodies out of sight behind the dune. Last session, we slept behind the dunes where the bodies were kept out of sight. The marauders slept in the cave, but we kept our sights on them throughout the night. In the morning, Logic decided to search the bodies of the soldiers before we headed back to Pies, while the rest of us tried to pry more information from the marauders to no avail. While searching the bodies of the soldiers that ambushed us, Logic came upon a flock of seagulls that were surrounding the dead bodies. Amongst these gulls was some kind of gull aberration that was much larger than the other gulls, with a long neck and modified fish scales instead of feathers. Logic screamed for the rest of our attention, and we collected some of Bisbee weapons to attack. We were able to hold them off somewhat, but not without Logic and Zartet getting wounded by the bites of this demon gull. Zartet's bitten on the back of his leg and is seriously wounded and beginning to bleed out. While taking this beating, the marauders decide this is their moment to attack and take up the arms from Bisbee's stash to come after us. However, they're not very successful. Kuntz, with his claw hammer, takes a claw to the lady marauder's face in a short but epic hammer throwdown, and is completely debilitated. One of the other marauders stumbles and nearly cleaves himself in two with a two-headed battle axe. Similar to the marauders, the gulls mostly took themselves out while fighting over body scraps or flew away from the commotion that we had caused. Amongst the bodies of the soldiers, we were finally able to recover about $80 worth of gold, a gold ring, as well as some shattered vials of that life-gaining powder, which we noticed to be the same powder we had found on the dead man in the ravine from earlier. Zartet was able to scrounge some berries and give blessing to them, turning them into good berries, which he used to stop his and Logic's bleeding. Despite the abject shittiness of these marauders, Zartet also took pity on the woman Kuntz had waylaid with the claw hammer and stopped her from dying as well with a good berry. Ultimately, we decided not to kill these marauders because they were but children, and made them march back to Bisbee's forge with the weapons they previously stolen. Upon arrival, Bisbee tied the young marauders to a tree and whipped them savagely for their crimes, and planned to keep them captive to work off their offense. As thanks, we were presented with one of Bisbee's finest swords that he kept in a box under his bed. The party decides to let Angie wield this blade, since she is our most trusted and also our finest fighter. After resting a bit after an arduous morning, we bid Bisbee adieu and continue our journey towards Pies. We approach from the south of town, just outside of Zartet's farm.
Did you, just to make sure, there was also in the packets, we got one extra packet of the black poison, but also the packet of silver dust. Is that in there?
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah, so the silver dust is, I believe you just have one package of that, if I'm not mistaken. But I think you have found like a couple of different packets of the black, um, likely poisonous powder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, great. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Zartet, for that thrilling recounting.
So we had two packs of the black powder, and then
Mhm. One package of the
So
silver dust, which will heal any injury at terrible cost.
got it.
Okay.
I think we have 3 packets of
Yeah, I think
black.
you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I think you
do.
took like
powder
one
and
off
one
of
of the
one off of the initial guy, and you
silver.
found 2 others when you were looting the various
Oh.
corpses and so forth. So you guys have quite a bit of
Got it.
poison at your disposal.
Got it.
If I were to guess, I would say that each one of those packets could kill about 5 or 6 people if you really wanted to, if you were willing to stretch it out.
Ooh.
So you guys are literally carrying a war crime waiting to happen. Of course, the thing about poison is, usually it's diluted quite a bit, so that it can be anyhow.
Angie.
All right. So when last we left you guys, you had traveled most of the way to Pies and camped out for the night before making it into town. So during the night, you guys keep a watch rotation because you're not idiots, and things have been pretty crazy in the landscape. So throughout the night, each person that keeps watch is aware of screams coming from the distance, too far to really make out where they are. From time to time, you'll see people running off in the distance, and just you get the general idea that there is a lot of chaos going off, pretty much in all directions. Madness everywhere you can go. In the middle of the night, Kuntz, you have a dream that you're swimming in the middle of the ocean and being sucked into a giant whirlpool. And as you begin to fall into the whirlpool, you look down and there is a giant unblinking eye at the pit of the whirlpool. And you wake up with a scream as you're falling into the giant crimson eye. Angie, you're keeping watch at the time, and tell Kunz to get back to sleep and to stop being such a pussy. So the night passes without further event, but as y'all are getting ready in the morning and preparing your spells, and in general, like getting everything together, doing all the necessities, cooking some of the food that Bisbee has given you. Let's see. So
Does this mean I'm back at full health?
everybody should consider themselves back at full health, thanks to the tender ministrations of Zartet the Druid, a healthy meal given to you by Bisbee, the crippled smith, and in addition, you have recovered your spells and are in prime fighting condition, ready for adventure. However, as you wake up this morning on the road to Pies, I would say that right now you guys are about 5 or 6 miles away from the town of Pies, where Zartet once had a farm about 5 or 6 miles north of town. So you guys have been approaching from the south, but I believe that Zartet's farm is closer to the north of town in a grove of olive trees. So everybody, as you're waking up and so forth, I want to say that Logic, you were the one that notices this as you're going through your morning training rituals or limbering up or stretching or whatever you think that you do in the morning. You notice on the path behind you, first it seems that you see one man approaching, but then soon you see that it is another and another and another, and it seems like a troop of men.
As soon as the
Yeah.
first or second, I try to get the attention of everybody.
Yeah. So you're able to immediately call everybody's attention to this, and you notice that they have kind of a peculiar gait as they're walking towards you. an almost mechanical, rhythmic motion as you're seeing the
Is it
silhouettes.
Legion?
And indeed, actually, because you recognize that so quickly, you have a slight advantage here because you immediately know that it is members of the Legion. Now, so far, you can see about 7 or 8 of them, and you now have a chance to act.
We're still south of town.
Oh, guys, we gotta go. We gotta get the hell out of here. The Legion's coming. There's like 7 or 8 of them on the road. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that you're southwest of the
Yeah,
town.
Yeah.
As you're watching, Logic, more and more are becoming visible off in the distance right there. And you would guess
How
that they're...
far?
So right now you can see them all the way to the horizon. This stretch of town, or this stretch of area, is relatively flat. So the horizon is about a mile off in the distance. And so you're seeing these as sort of almost like ant-shaped figures. And it's only by their relative size and their like sort of plodding, tireless gait that you're able to recognize them as Legion. But Logic, I believe that your eyesight is pretty solid here. So you're able to pick them off one after the other, and you think that there are somewhere between 13 and 16 of these Legion marching in your direction along the road.
Okay. Hey, Zartet, since we're here on your farmland, is there any sort of natural defensible
So-
position anywhere near here?
Just to fill you guys in, you are actually not yet at Zartet's farm.
Yeah, we're still
Yeah.
south of town.
You're still
My
south of
farm's
town
north
by
of
about
town, so we're
still
like-
south of town by about.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I would say that Pies is sort of to the northeast of you, and you're about 5 miles away. And then Zartet's farm would be about another 5 miles north in a big olive grove not too far from the sea.
So they're
And
just like
there's- as far as-
coming across off like open land here.
Yeah, they're the land slopes down, so you're a little bit beneath them there, but it's the road is a fairly straight shot on this stretch right here, and you guys
So,
have camped.
They're heading directly towards us.
They are headed along the road. It's not clear yet as if they've seen you or not.
Oh, okay. Does
Logic,
the road lead
yeah,
to
Logic
us?
is particularly sharp-eyed. Well, you guys are not dumb enough to like camp in the middle of the road. You actually set up your camp on a small hill on the other side of the road, so it's possible that you've eluded detection here.
I have the feeling, a very strong feeling, that they have some other, and this is in character too. I have a strong feeling based on previous interactions that they have some sort of means of detecting, I don't know, life or us or something that is beyond just vision. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It does seem
Um,
uncanny
sure.
the way that they're popping up.
Is the
What do you
silver
guys think we
ring?
should do?
Is the silver ring doing anything?
The silver ring is doing absolutely nothing, as it has done for the entire time that you have worn it.
Hey,
One
well,
day,
in the-
Zartet.
How many arrows do you have, Angie?
I think I have written down
4, I
2.
think. 3 or 4.
Is it 4 now?
Yeah, you took a few back.
You took a few back, but you are down
Yeah,
to
4
just
is
4
circle,
arrows,
yeah.
and there are at least 13 or 14 legionnaires that you can make out. By the way, as you guys are conversing here, do you want to do anything? Do you want to try and get out of the way?
Well, yeah, let's start to get off the road.
Okay.
At
Yeah,
least.
We're not in the
Get-
road. We're
get-
in some
Yeah,
sort of
you're not in the
field, I
road.
think you said.
Let's get
Maybe go further into the forest.
just try to obscure ourselves from these guys so they don't see us or sense us or something like that. But I'm
Can we
thinking
go onto the
maybe
side of the road
So let me describe
towards your
Well,
farm at
the
least?
Were
side of the
we
road.
he-
We have to retreat.
I have a quick question. Were we heading to town, or did we just come from town?
You were heading in the direction of the town.
We should
so
continue going to town, then.
separating you
I think-
from the town is a kind of scrubby coastal forest. A lot of twisted trees and dune grasses, and it's relatively sandy and rocky land. And because it's so sandy, it's pretty easy to leave a clear trail through it, and somewhat hard to disguise the way that you went. But it is possible. So you guys can decide how you would like
I think
to
a town can probably defend themselves against 13 to 16 MOLs.
So
That's a good question. What is the layout of Pies? I mean,
So,
what's the population?
Zartet, you would be intimately familiar with the defensive garrison of Pies, and in fact, all of you have been at this town previously. I will tell you that the protection that the town has is largely dependent on how many sort of the coastal militia happen to be in the general area. The local constabulary is more or less worthless there. Pies is a small coastal village that mainly sustains itself through farming olives and fishing and some light farming and grazing of hardy goats that can subsist on like the sea grasses and so forth. But in general, it's a relatively small town. About 300 people live there, and just 13 legionnaires could probably rout the entire town.
Is there any way we could, or this is just, I'm saying this in character,
Mhm.
maybe we should send somebody forward to warn everybody and get them out or something.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I could probably do that actually. Is this area considered like is it? You said it's kind of duny, so I imagine it's pretty open, and
It's
it just has
sandy and
dunes
like
maybe as cover.
these are sort of low rolling hills, and some areas of bogland and so forth. But there's not a great deal of forest cover or so forth. If we're talking about if you're planning on running like a marathon or whatever, there, Logic or Kuntz would probably be your absolute fastest runners.
Mhm.
With Angie and Zartet, you are probably the slowest of the runners
of
there, just
course.
based on your age.
I was just
I'm
wondering
probably
if there was any kind of like overgrown areas that I could, try to pass through, because as a druid, I
Mhm.
can kind of pass without trace in
You
kind
could
of overgrown
definitely
rough
lead a
areas.
trail into some of the dune grasses and so forth. So pass without trace teaches
Not
you,
the spell really. It's just I'm
yeah, the
able to do
ability.
that as a druid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the ability is more than just moving through woodlands and so forth, because you've grown up in this area and you're intimately
Hmm.
familiar with it. You can pass without trace through this entire region, and in fact, you can instruct others in how to pass without a trace as well, making it relatively difficult to track you. However, you will move slower than if you are just running at a full clip, trying to get away from these guys.
Even Angie, who
Angie doesn't need your help. And Angie is well versed in sneaking in and out of houses like the Orkin Man. But
mhm.
but in any case,
Would she be any quicker? I guess
so
is
I will
my
tell you
point, as a
that just like
ranger.
before, all of you are aware that the Legion wears heavy armor, and they sort of move in this loping, jogging motion, and they just run people down over a great deal of time. Each of you on your feet
Maybe
at a good jog is faster than all of those Legionnaires put together.
Okay.
we should all head towards town, and one of us should go ahead and run forward. It probably shouldn't be me, since I don't have exactly the best reputation in town. I'm guessing. But
I think I
No,
have the highest charisma, and I have friends, and I haven't died yet. So maybe statistically speaking,
well,
I
nobody's
might
died
be the
yet.
same
It's your
number.
turn to die.
People have gotten close, but nobody's
I also
died
have a
yet.
claw hammer, and you know me. But
Well, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna like pour out some water on some sand and
Mhm.
kind of like smooth it over and draw a map for the others as to like what I think the the path would be to be less likely to be discovered, and the quickest and this kind of thing, to like try to get ahead of these guys as much as possible if we can.
Okay. You're able to convey what you know about the local area in depth, and you have by far the greatest understanding of the local woods and the area around and so forth. So that will make it much easier for the rest of the party to move on. You're successful in the attempt to convey your knowledge to them. So how are you proceeding?
is Zartet the one that's going to warn the town, and the rest of us are?
You can
Catching
decide
up.
who you would like to warn the town. Like you said that you were a swift runner and you're charismatic. We saw what happened when Logic attempted to convince people. His reputation definitely preceded him.
I think it should be Angie. So just since she's kind of, I mean, she's not law enforcement. She law enforcement in Pies.
She was a sort of member of the constabulary in Pies. So she would have some authority.
I do have 13 charisma. That's pretty decent.
He is
Anybody have
a
higher
smooth
charisma?
silver-tongued devil. I'll tell you that, like, essentially, if one of you wants to make it there and just run your ass off, you need to drop everything that you're carrying and run for it. Otherwise, all of you can run at about the same speed, really. So if somebody is willing to just drop whatever they're carrying and run full clip, you can probably make it there in like 1.5 times as fast as the other ones there, or you can run as a party. It's up to you.
I think I'm
Well,
only carrying a hammer, so technically
I'll carry what I could carry, and I'll take up the rear, and I'll let the kids run ahead.
Yeah, I'll stick with you and carry stuff.
Okay, that's fine too.
Okay, so Logic and Zartet
myself
are
and
sticking
Angie
together.
are gonna
And-
race
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah,
Also,
Kunz and Angie
before you
are-
take off,
yep.
I wanted to suggest taking one of those packets of black powder and doing up your arrows with whatever is in that poison.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Here, take.
Well, I
my
will tell you
last
that
good
as
berry,
you're
too.
under pursuit right now and trying to run off and so forth, you probably do not have time to figure out a way to apply like powder to arrows in a way that
I think
will...
he said he was just gonna give Angie the packets, not necessarily do it right now.
Yeah.
Yep, you can
That's
absolutely
all my shit
you can
anyway.
pass those off to
so-
her. So Angie, if you want to run as fast as you can, you probably should drop the sword and so forth. But you do not know what's ahead in Pies, so it's up to you if you want to drop your equipment or if you want to stay armed. Similarly, Kunz, you can drop the crotch goblet and the claw hammer if you want, or you can run with them at
That's
a
good.
slight speed.
That's a good point.
penalty.
Have there been any indications in our overnight stay that there is anything amiss in the direction of Pies?
Yes, absolutely. When I was speaking earlier about the screams that you're hearing in the night and the people running off at all directions and so forth, it's likely that something may have gone down in Pies as well. So,
I'm gonna bring the hammer for sure,
okay.
because it's my
Yeah.
safety blanket.
I'm just gonna bring my shit, I think.
Okay.
Since I've
gonna-
gone several days now, including many combat situations with the goblet in my crotch area, obviously I am well versed in running with the golden jock.
You're lucky you haven't gotten a rash at this point there.
Very lucky. Yeah.
No.
I give Angie my last good berry.
Okay.
Sure you don't want it for yourself, Sartek?
Thank you.
I'll be okay. I can make more.
All right. So as it stands, Angie and Kunz are running ahead. Logic and Zartet are moving forward. So right now we're going to largely deal with Angie and Kunz on your headlong flight into there. So taking heed of the woods lore that Zartet has passed on to you, you begin at not quite a sprint, but
quick thing.
Yes.
Maybe Angie should take one of Logic's daggers since it's pretty lightweight and at least she has something.
Okay.
'Cause he does have two
So
daggers.
Angie said that she was bringing her sword with her.
Yeah, I'm bringing my shit.
Oh, okay.
She got
Sorry.
Bisbee's sword.
Never
Yeah, I
mind.
got the
Yeah,
big
she has
cool
the
sword.
sword and a bow and woe be unto those that oppose her right there. Actually, she's like clanking along. She's got a lot of weapons on this character right there. So the two of you set off running to try and warn the town, leaving Logic and Zartet bringing up the rear there, and all of you set off trying to run away from the Legion. So can I get your constitution, Angie and Kunz?
Yes.
12.
16.
Okay. So ultimately, the two of you are able to keep a pace, but Kunz, you find that it's harder than it normally would be to keep up with Angie. Generally, you're a pretty good runner and in excellent physical condition, but you just feel yourself lagging behind, and you notice that like the scratch that you took in the battle before is kind of angry and inflamed, and you just feel particularly winded in a way that you hadn't previously. But the two of you are able to keep up there. So Logic and Zartet, the two of you continue running after them, and you take a slightly different path. And a few times you attempt to obfuscate your trail and just leave some switchbacks and so forth in an attempt to throw the Legion off should they attempt to pursue you through whatever. It's not even sure that they've seen you yet. So the morning passes. You guys run for something like half an hour, making it to the outskirts of Pies in, I want to say, about pretty good health. I want to say it takes you about 40 minutes to run the 5 miles there. And by the time you get there, you're out of breath and exhausted. Logic and Zartet, you're about a mile behind them, keeping like a relatively brisk trot, but you're not running for all that you're worth.
I
So-
would like to, on the way running, sorry to interrupt, interject, but just to, if points at which along the path that I could, like, I don't know, get up on a hill or a rise and just check back and see if there's see if I can see them. And
Okay, I think that's a good idea. And absolutely you would be looking back behind you and so forth. Because you two are going a little slower, you can see that the Legion is continuing to proceed along the road. And in fact, they're gaining a little bit faster than you would like, to tell you the truth. They continue to move at that slow and steady pace, but they're going along a road, and you two are kind of weaving around sort of scrubby grasses and aloe and plants, and trying to leave a confusing trail. So they are gaining on the two of you. So Angie and Kuntz, you approach a town of Pies. And so this is a town where all of you have a lot of memories of staying here. Kuntz, this is an area where you dreamed of getting out of here, going to study magic abroad, just countless drunken nights that you've spent here getting in trouble with your amigo Logic. And then Angie, this is an area where you were responsible for collecting tax and enforcing the law and rolling drunks and keeping some kind of peace and order here. And you have a lot of memories of different scrapes that you've gotten into and problems that you've had along the way. And most people here know you and have come to respect you as a fair, but also nobody to be trifled with in the area. So as you approach, the town of Pies is on a hill, which is a good idea, if possible, in a coastal type area. The area here is a lot of exposed rock and winding paths and orange stone. And as you approach the hill that Pies stands on, you see smoke sort of rising in the distance. And as you get closer, it becomes more and more clear that there has been a terrible fire in Pies. As you're running towards the town, you come across on the sort of right-hand side of the trail that you're following, and we'll just pause here for a second, because you notice that a man is face down and dead, lying in sort of a grassy pasture type area. And around him, there are 4 or 5 goats that have also fallen dead. And you can see birds circling around, sort of carrion birds. And I guess as you approach closer, you smell sort of like the sickly smell of decay on the wind. And you begin to hear sort of like insects and so forth in the distance, dealing with these decomposing bodies. So that's a small pasture towards the right-hand side of you. You can attempt to circumvent it, or you can go in for a closer look, but it's definitely at least 1 dead man and about 5 dead goats.
I say we probably
Lots of
just ignore
goats.
it and get to town.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck with it.
Okay.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, you give a wide berth you make note of the dead shepherd and the dead goats, but you give them a wide berth and trot around there. And as you're moving towards the town, you find areas of vegetation where everything is dead. There are just swatches where the bushes are dead down to just sort of the branches where grasses have been eaten away, where there are somewhat corroded skeletons of all kinds of things, and everything has sort of a reddish, gummy tinge to it. You try to avoid these areas, but it makes you wonder what exactly did that. Angie, you are pretty well skilled in woodscraft, and you've never seen anything like this. You wonder if there's like some strange blight or something that has befallen this area. But there is a sort of metallic smell in the air, a kind of like tang, like burning metal that's hard to forget. And as you get closer to Pies, your hopes are dashed because you see that much of the town has been burned. And you don't see anything like the activity that you normally would have seen. Normally there are people moving around. You can see clothes hung out on lines and children running around. And it's normally a pretty festive little town where everybody knows everybody else's business. The houses are mostly painted white with blue trim on the top. It's just the local style. And now everything is blackened and the tiles have shattered. And as you approach the hill, you steel yourselves because you know you're going to see something very unpleasant if you proceed further. So as you run towards Pies to give a warning, unfortunately find that there's almost no one left to warn. The town has been hit by some strange thing that caused it to all come apart and burn down.
Does it look like it came from the sky?
You're sort of standing at the foot of the hill here, and you have the chance to decide whether you want to go into the town and investigate by yourselves, or if you want to let Logic and Zartet catch up and try to investigate as a party. From time to time, you can hear cries coming from up the hill where Pies is, and they don't sound entirely human. Right?
I think we should go up the hill cautiously, take a peek, and see what's going on.
Well, Angie, you're a party to this decision. Do you want to venture ahead with Kuntz?
Yeah, I want to go check it out, but cautiously.
Okay. So, Angie, as you're approaching an area, you have two choices. You can have your sword drawn, you could have your bow out, or you could venture on unarmed.
I'll have my bow out.
Okay. Kuntz, as you venture forward, you can either have your hammer out or have it tucked into your belt along with your crotch cup.
It'll be tucked into my belt.
Okay, so you are going...
I'm planning on being very sneaky.
Okay, are you guys trying to sneak up the hill without being seen? Okay.
Quietly, yeah. I don't know if sneak's the right word, but
okay,
not
Kuntz,
screaming.
What's your dexterity there, Kuntz?
My dexterity is 16.
How dexterous of you. And then Angie, what is your dexterity?
15.
So the two of you do your best to sneak up the hill without encountering resistance. As you move into the town, the smell hits you like a wave. Not just dead people, which you've smelled before, and all of you have smelled butchered animals. But there is something wrong in the air. It goes beyond rot. There's an almost sort of chemical, strange smell that makes you very uneasy as you're moving forward. It's not something that you smelled previously. And you worry if there's some kind of miasma surrounding the town that may have an effect on you. Kuntz, you notice that your lungs are beginning to burn, even from the relatively gradual climb up the hill towards the town. Let's see. So as you're attempting to move quietly, Angie, you hear a sound above you, right, from the rooftop above, and turn with your bow. And as you're sort of turning to look up, you realize that somebody has gotten the drop on you and has leapt off of the roof at you. So let's see. Oh, who did we lose? There we go.
Sorry.
1 second. All right, I'll wait for Kunz to rejoin the living there. But
Should be here. You guys hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. We just lost your
Okay.
camera.
I can hear you.
So Angie, somebody leaps off of a roof and falls a good 15 feet and crashes down on top of you. And before you can train an arrow on them or block them in any way, they are just thrashing on top of you and attacking you. And you suffer 4 points of damage.
Jesus.
Yeah. They and furthermore, they are scrambling around and gnashing their teeth and trying to bite your throat out. So you have a chance to react. It's happening too fast to see who it is, but you can attempt to defend yourself if you would like.
Yes,
Sounds
I
like
would
Joe
like to.
Biden.
Is that yeah? With a mighty sniff of your hair, he withdraws from Afghanistan. No, that's we're trying to get away from
Right
that
off the
here.
plane.
We're trying to get away from that realm and into the
Yeah.
realm of the Westmorians. All right, so I assume that you try to attack the person who is.
Yeah.
Okay. So with relative ease, you're able to rip this person off as they're trying to sink their teeth into your throat and slam them to the ground and stomp them, almost sort of as a reflexive action. And you manage to stomp right on their throat, and with a horrible crackling gargle, you realize that you have crushed their windpipe and slain them.
Oh, yeah.
The person has kind of a nightmarish look to them. Their skin is covered with sort of capillaries, and it looks like a 50-year drunk's nose, all bursted and carbuncled. And the skin has a reddish tinge, as if they're sunburned all over, but like a dark purple, unhealthy-looking sunburn. And as they're wheezing and like coughing their last, they have their eyes go blank and filmed, and they're this sickly sort of grayish yellow. And as you're looking at them, you realize their mouth like falls open in death, and their teeth have gone all crazy and jutting. They've started to like grow out like the teeth of a rat, turning like that creepy orange ratty color that they get sometime. And once you can get a closer look at them, you can see that they've started growing just weird tufts of fur, like coming out of the side of their face, and just in odd spots, like out the back of their knuckles and so forth. And their fingers have like kind of a unwholesome pinkish, like almost mouse-taily texture to them. Something is definitely wrong with this person.
Rat people.
All right, so Kunz, while this
How
is
close
going
am I
on,
into her?
you're like basically right on top of her. What you saw was Angie. This person fell down on top of Angie, and she immediately like slammed him to the ground and stepped on their neck.
All right, I help Angie. Here's my hand. Get up.
Also, just FYI, Kunz, like your camera is dead. I don't know if that's intentional or.
I see him.
You can see him? I can't see him at all. How dare you, Kunz?
I think I'm still. Oh, I'm not live. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not live.
I'll try. Hang on. This will take one.
Okay.
Maybe I turned it on too fast. How was that?
I'm still so brown for me.
Oh.
But I can remember what you look like, so I have my
Okay.
memory to assist me. But yeah, your
I'm
video is
missing
not
out
coming
on
through.
that.
Is everybody else able to see his video and I can't?
Yeah.
And
And his cat.
Okay.
Glitch.
You could still hear him.
All right. Well,
I tested the stream. You could still hear him.
okay. I can still hear
That's
him,
good.
but I can't see him. Let me video disable. But I've got your video disabled for some fucking reason. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know why, but maybe I clicked on his video or whatever. All right, now I can see a cat. I'm so glad we were able to resolve that without fucking up the whole stream. So yeah, Kunz, you've just seen this sort of. They look human, but something is definitely wrong there. But this person who has a lot of like rat-like characteristics.
So
has leapt
I want
onto
to look
the-
at the face of the person and see if I can recognize him. See if maybe he used to be a member of Pies and now has somehow turned into a rat man type of creature.
This to you, it's been a little bit since you've seen them, but it looks like the son of the Cooper Marlston. So you can't remember exactly the name of the son right there, but this looks to be a youth, maybe about 18 or 19 years of age. But something terrible has befallen him, for sure. So you think it's Marlston's son, but you're not 100% sure.
How long has it been since we were last, or I was last at Pies? Like, we're talking months or years?
It's been, you guys were some months in your voyage, right there.
Okay.
And this is not somebody that you would see every day. The Marlstons live a little bit east of town there. So generally you would see them once every few months or so at a festival or a fair or something.
Does it look like the corruption of town is very recent, or maybe this could have been happening for a week?
You can't really tell, to tell you the truth. You're not,
Can't really
you're not
tell?
an expert in corruption of towns.
Okay.
Corruption of taverns is a different matter, but yeah.
So I think maybe Angie should probably eat that berry, just in case she herself becomes corrupted.
So
She
the
did lose 4
damage,
health.
the damage actually that Angie took, for the most part, you don't. This person didn't manage to bite you, and they didn't break your skin. You took damage because they jumped on top of you from about 15 feet up. And in fact, the person injured themselves as well, leaping off that way. Like, they were fairly hurt. They probably like threw their arm out of the shoulder, or threw their arm out of the socket or whatever, just falling on top of you. So
All right. And was this this a silent attack? Like neither of us heard it happening?
yeah,
for
they
the most
just
part?
this person just leapt
I think
down at you.
Angie, we should move further into town and stay away from buildings or taller buildings, or maybe people could jump on us again, and maybe head to the town square and see if we can find survivors that are not rat people.
Okay.
I don't know, dude. There's fucking rat people jumping out of buildings and everything's on fire. It seems kind of apocalyptic. I don't know.
So to give you an idea of what's going on, essentially, like every time the wind shifts, it brings smoke in your direction, and from time to time you hear sort of a low rumble in the background. And Angie, you have seen this before when you've responded to fires and so forth, but it's the sound of a building collapsing. And then a column of dust will go up on the horizon and so forth. You have more experience with this than Kunz does. But yeah, like, things are going wrong. Meanwhile, Logic and Zartet, you are running towards the town, and you too. I guess you guys are maybe about half a mile distance there. And you're smelling definitely some of the smoke, and you're able to follow, because they're not hiding their trails at all. You're able to follow the footsteps of Logic, or the footsteps of Angie and Kunz, and you come across the same thing that they did, which is the shepherd face down, dead, with sort of his goats bloated and lying all around him.
Do either of us do I recognize him?
You can't recognize him while he's face down.
Would
Maybe
I
he
know
recognizes
of a
his mom.
farmer on this side of town with a herd of goats?
So there are a fair number of shepherds and flocks of goats and so forth here. What's your wisdom there, Zartet?
14?
This looks like it might be Billy, who is the youngest of the McMastersons. The McMastersons are a family of shepherds, and they also keep bees.
All right, I'm gonna go.
What do you?
I mean, what's my relationship to them? Is it very close or just kind of business?
In general, you would say that
I mean, I have
the
been a hermit
McMastersons
too for a
are
while.
they're good people. From time to time, you would buy cheese from them, and it's excellent. They make it with a port wine, and it has sort of a purplish skin to it. You're fond of the cheese that they make. You don't know much about Billy. He is probably, if it is him, it's difficult to make him out because he's become so bloated. He's probably been lying out here in the sun and blackening for about 3 or 4 days by the looks of him. So is like all the blood has sort of drained to the lower parts of his extremities, and he's bloated, and the goats aren't in much better shape. As a sort of student of natural life, you know that this area is probably rife with disease, and it would potentially be unwise to approach. It's really more work for an undertaker. You don't think that there's anything that you could do for him here?
So as we're coming up on this,
Mhm.
and I see that, is it immediately obvious that there's shit going on elsewhere with these rat people?
So you can
just
see
would it
you
Can
can
we even
see
see
that
the
there is
town?
a fire ahead in town, and you're about half
Yeah.
a mile out, so you're not really
Oh,
close
okay.
enough to make out exactly where Angie and Kuntz are at this point. You hope that they haven't foolishly ventured into town without you guys, but we'll have to see whether or not that's
I
the
wanted
case.
to.
All right. Well, Logic, I think I need to. I mean, my objective here is to get to my farm, like, and see if my goat's okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't want anything to do with this stink.
Okay. So you also, potentially wisely, choose to avoid the dead shepherd and the slain goats around him, and you proceed towards the town. All right. So while this is going on, Angie and Kuntz, you can either decide to go into town, or you can take a look back and see if you can spot Logic and Zartet.
Yeah, let's grab them first.
Okay. So discretion being the better part of valor. All of you, Kuntz wants to venture for. I mean, you get a vote. You can head on, and you're
You
by
can
your own.
go.
All right, Zartet, what have you got?
On our way there, I know we were in a hurry. You said we were being ganged on by some legion, possibly.
They
Would
were
I have
gaining
seen
on you.
any berries in this kind of region that we were coming up on?
I think
That
that
I
you
could have gathered.
you can
quickly?
just assume that you have enough berries to cast your spell anytime that you want.
I decide to
2d4?
Mm-hmm.
I decide to cast invisibility on myself,
Okay.
and I am going to perform an investigation alone.
Okay. So you want to investigate the town and head on alone while Angie waits for the others to catch up to you. I applaud your bravery right there. All right. So Kuntz, you're informing Angie of what you're doing, right? You're not just vanishing.
Yeah, so I think maybe Angie should head back to Zartet and Logic. It's up to her, of course. But
Okay.
Yeah, meet
So,
them halfway.
I got 7 good berries.
okay. You managed to get 7 good berries. Nice.
Yeah, I rolled it in the
Okay.
chat room.
Yeah, it's probably good to do this now. Maybe the sight of the dead person reminded you you might need these later. Okay. So Kuntz, you've decided to venture on into the town alone, while Angie hangs back to see what's what. So you move into the town, and it's a grisly sight. Nearly every building has been torched. You see blood spattered along walls, at entryways, and there are dead lying in the streets. It's truly a sickening sight right there. This is a town that where you grew up, and you see familiar sights such as the butcher that you used to go to all the time has been gutted, and it's nothing but a smoldering ruin. The town square where everybody would gather for festivals and host big parties and feast together is nothing but ashes and the dead. And it's clear that the town of Pies is done for and will never happen again. So as you are moving through the town, you hear the sounds of just hissing and the sounds of what can only be described as someone being eaten and you find
Yeah.
two human-like forms hunched over a body, and they're apparently devouring it. They're just blood and viscera flying as they're gorging themselves on someone who has died. So you
All right.
you are now about 10 or 15 feet away from the cannibals.
B- I don't. Is the way invisibility work? Can I pick up a small rock and throw it at maybe a structure near them to startle them and see what happens to them?
As soon as you take an action where you wield any kind of influence on the world around you, your invisibility will falter.
Okay. I think I will avoid them, and I'll maybe, if I look around, do I see anything else worthy of investigation, or is it pretty much the same old everywhere?
In any direction that you look, it looks like the town has been ravaged. Everything has been laid bare and put to ruin. Potentially, you could attempt to loot some of these houses, but it doesn't look like a great deal has been spared. In places,
If I loot, does my invisibility wear off?
yes, anything that you
Okay.
do that makes a tangible change in the world will break your invisibility.
All right. Do I hear any interesting sounds in any direction?
Well, you can hear the sort of squelching and teeth gnashing sounds of the cannibals. To the south, you can see a building which you know very well. It is the brewery, where people brew beer from rye and from crab apples. And as you look at the brewery, it's got kind of like the foul smell of like spoiled beer coming from it. But as you're looking at the stones, you can see where something has eaten away at the rock. And there are sort of pools where this reddish fluid has run from there. It looks more than just burnt. The building has been corroded by something. Something has fallen on it and has just melted through rock and timber, and has mingled with all the spilled beer and
Agent
spoiled
Red.
rum. Yeah, as you're looking at it,
Does it look like what fell on it came from the sky or very high
it does
up or
look
impacted?
it does look like something fell on the town. Like maybe something flew over and just spit like a terrible gob of red viscous fluid. But as you take, do me a favor, Cunts. What is your
Yes.
wisdom?
I feel like
Sorry,
I
what is my
predicted
what?
This.
Your wisdom.
Oh, it's 15.
So you notice that the fluid, that red fluid, is moving. Right?
Uh-oh.
And at first it kind of catches your eye. You're not 100% sure that it's moving on its own. And you creep closer for a look at it. And as you look at it, it just sort of has like this strange, like in some cases it will be flowing up the wall in beads, or spilling onto the ground and branching out almost as if it's alive. And you get a little bit closer to take a look, and the next thing you know, you realize that whatever this fluid is, it doesn't need eyes to see you. So a strand of it has wrapped around your foot. You just feel like a crawling sensation on your foot, and this red fluid is flowing onto your boot. You can't see it, but you can feel it. Like definitely something has like flowed up to your boot. And let's see. Okay. You are able to sort of jump back and start kicking like at your boot and trying to get the red gunk off of it right there. But you can smell leather burning in the background. And as a result, as you're sort of kicking and making sound and so forth, trying to get this off of you, you unfortunately make a sound, and behind you, you can see the two cannibals perk up their heads and start to snuffle at the air. And you are totally silent, attempting to avoid detection. And you can see them start to sniff at the air. And
I think
yeah.
I'm immediately going to start running towards Angie's last location and see if I can find.
Okay. So you
the
start running
fellas.
for your life. And the sound of your heavy footsteps draws the cannibals. You see that one of them rushes in the direction that you were in, and over your shoulder, you notice that he rushes a little bit too close to the red fluid.
Uh-oh.
And
Oh, that poor guy.
yeah, like the next thing that you hear is a terrible scream, but you are still running in the direction of Angie. So another one is actually hot on your tail, running after you. So Angie, you can see this form sort of running through the smoke, just like a ripple in the air right there. And hot on its trail is just a person who their face is just covered in blood, and it's caked under their fingernails, and they just, not a good sight to see there.
Does it look like Kuntz will get to me before he gets caught by the rat person?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Kunz. Yeah, you were faster than the rat person, and so you see sort of this invisible ripple. But now the rat person sees you, Angie.
Yeah, I want my sword out.
Okay, so you draw your sword just in time.
I want my hammer out. I want to get
Okay.
that fucking hammer out.
So you just ran past Angie. So Angie has a chance to attack before you did.
Sorry, Angie.
All right. So
Big?
Angie. Ooh. And then rat person. Ooh. So the rat
Do
person.
we see this or hear this or anything?
The two of you are proceeding up to the hill, and just now you've caught sight of Angie, and you see the flash of silver as she draws Bisbee's sword.
Oh, yeah.
The next thing that you see is Angie. This person leaps directly at you as you're drawing your sword, and you attempt to just pull kind of a one of these movements right there. The rat person did not expect you to be armed, right? And your sword catches them at the bottom of their chin and just opens them up. There's just like a canal dug through their face, and just blood flies through the air, and they crash to the ground, stone dead in a single strike. So you have slain them, but unfortunately, you are just covered with spatters of blood from this. So not all is well. There is a grim price to pay. You're just covered with it's disgusting. So all of you match back up, and you find Angie just like sort of scrubbing the remains of this person off of her face with a rag. Kuntz, you are still invisible right now, but all of you have seen Kuntz cast this spell before, and so you have the general idea, and you know that if he touches anything or tries to affect anything, the spell will fail. So Kuntz...
How long does it last? Do we have any idea about that?
24 hours according to the manual, but pretty obscene amount of time.
it's a large amount of time, but as soon as he touches anything, like if he eats food or takes a drink or whatever, the spell will falter.
Or a dump?
Huh. It's interesting right there. Well, let's meditate on that. All right, so everybody, let's pause and grab a drink and everything, and then let's regroup in 5 minutes.
Cool.
Perfect.
Yay.
So we're going to keep going here?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
This is fun.
Hell yeah. Slicing and dicing. Running
Dude,
from
I'm
the rat
killing
man.
so much more than I expected to during this. I'm pretty fond of the crushing that guy's throat, too. So.
Hell yeah. Shout outs to chat. Shout outs to Frack. See Mouse, Funk Power. A baby giraffe. That's Angie, isn't it? Who's your favorite NPC so far? Chat.
I gotta say Bisbee.
Yeah, Bisbee.
Bisbee seems dope. He got cool swords. Cool swords and other weapons.
Yeah, man.
And then he has that whiskey too.
Plus, he just whipped the shit out of those kids. He wasn't fooling around.
They deserved it.
He's just like,
Yeah.
fuck the earth. I'm on it. What do we got right there?
Those poor children.
We're not going to go too deep into the town of Bisbee right there. But yeah, oof. Did not think that it would go so poorly for them right there. All right, so Zartet, you have regained the party right there. Logic thundering into action right here. Hilarious. All right, so Logic is back there. Whew. Yeah, I'm glad we took the time to D&D it up here.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell everybody's kind of tired though.
Yeah, I think everybody just had a rough weekend, man. Oh, like a good weekend, but my constitution. I had to take a constitution check to even do this. Look at the throne set up for glitch in the background.
Except Stonewall's Artat.
Yeah.
I can't tell if he's had a rough weekend or not.
I didn't have a rough weekend at all. I'm
got
here
there?
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
All right, what do we got? And then there's our ranger has returned. All right, everybody. Well, welcome back there. That's the smoke of the town of Pies in my lungs.
Oh my god.
So, that's rough. Yeah. By the way, Angie, your rat person rolled a 1 and just basically tumbled headlong into. So you were able to outroll him there. Yeah. So you guys clean yourselves up a little bit, and everyone is aghast at what has become of Pies. And the town is busy burning around you. So you can decide what you want to do. You can either, from time to time, you'll hear like a cry of pain coming from the town, or a not quite human scream. But in general, it seems pretty rough for the town of Pies. So you guys can decide what you would like to do.
And when we roll up, like, how covered is Angie? Completely covered in muck, or
Angie looks like a water balloon full of blood exploded in her face, and she's mopping it off with a rag because she really like cleaved this guy's face in two.
It wouldn't be unreasonable for Zartet to draw some kind of conclusion about these, what we actually saw in the sky and these other visions I had of this whatever red shit was in the sky.
So you can tell that that everything is wrong here, right? When you look at the the two corpses that Angie has left behind here, you can see that they're no longer quite human. Like something has happened to them, like the pizza mitts, like running around
wish
in the
we had some
background.
of those right now.
No, I want.
So we could loot the corpses in safety.
I want pizza now. What the fuck? So anyhow, all right. Welcome back, Pizza Man. Did you add a sticker to your DOS King hat?
No, that was on there. That got mailed to me. That's what it said.
I can't believe that they put they left a sticker on there and you left it on there.
So there was an old pizza in my oven when I was preheating it, and then like I go to put in the regular pizza, and this thing's just on fire. I'm like, oh my god. So I don't know if the fire alarm's gonna go off. It's kind of finicky, but I got the windows open.
So you had
Yeah, I saw
another
that
pizza
box was burnt. I
that you
was
had
like, what the
cooked,
fuck?
but you had forgotten that you cooked the pizza, and then you
No,
put in another
no.
pizza.
So I had a box in there from last week. It's probably last week's box because my cat will eat them, so I just store them in the oven. So I turned my oven to 350 to preheat it, thinking it's empty, and then
In a pizza
bloody
box
thing's
caught on fire.
smoking.
That's in true fire mage fashion, right there. So what I was telling everybody else is that so what you can see is that Angie has dispatched another two. A fucking killing machine right here. So she has slain them. So actually, you can see that something is definitely up with these people. Like the one guy has crazy rat-like teeth all over the place. The other one that came after Angie is covered in much more blood than his own. His fingernails have grown into like these sort of talons almost. You can see where two of his fingers have fused together. And all over, you can see just his veins are raised up and his face is covered with capillaries. Some disease or something has got a hold of these people and twisted them in some kind of way. And
Could I
yes,
take a momentary, for the Legionnaires that were trucking this way on the road, sort of guesstimate approximately how long until they get to Pies?
maybe 30 minutes.
Have
Sorry to
I
interrupt.
conveyed my little knowledge of being invisible to the group?
They know that you're there and that you're invisible. They've seen this before.
No, but like, have I told so I need to tell them about like the red liquid going on the building and the cannibals and stuff like that?
Okay, yeah, you can relay that information very quickly.
All right, guys. So I went invisible and I went into town. There was this red goop, sort of like goo. It was going from the ground up the buildings, sort of acidically eating them. And there was also, everything was on fire. I saw two cannibals eating one body. And then I ran. I ran really fast.
Good job.
Yes, we're gonna keep on running.
What's the rest of the town look like?
Shit. It just all looks like shit.
So
Have
most
you
of it
seen
is
my
on
farm.
I did not see your farm. There's too much smoke.
All right.
But it looks very dangerous. Maybe we should not go through the middle of town. Perhaps we should take the long, safer, maybe foresty way around.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, look at Mila.
Is this like a fortified town? Is it basically we're on the outside of the wall now? They ran
So
through a gate.
The
Are
town
there
of Pies
structures
is essentially
outside?
built up on a hill. About 300 people live here, and there are about 40 different homes, right? Most of these houses are built on just one or two levels. Some people who are like especially close to each other will have like a wooden walkway from house to house so that they can hang out with each other. Everything that you can see is either on fire, and the fires are continuing to spread from house to house. Like the situation is worsening as you guys are standing here, and the Legionnaires are headed your way.
Yeah. I want to get to my property. You know, I want to check on it.
Is there do we have enough, is something to clean up Angie? You look really bad, man.
You could throw some water in her face with like a canteen, or she's. I mean, at this point, she would be like dabbing herself off and so forth. But until you guys like find some kind of a bath, she's going to be a pretty grisly sight.
Maybe the rat people will think I'm one of them.
I'd have it.
Yeah. Use it as camouflage.
That's a very good point. That's very good. We're gonna go to Dad's farm here.
Okay. So if you want to run north, if you want to head north, it's about 4 or 5 miles
Goodberry
to
Farms.
town. So you guys have been traveling for most of the day. The sun will probably be just starting to set as you get down to Goodberry Farms. So you have the option to head there, You could also choose to continue running. You could inspect what's going on in the town. It's all up to you what you would like to do.
I'm not very interested in seeing any more of the sticky, bloody fire stuff. I don't think going inside is a very good idea. I think we should head to Zardit's farm, Goodberry Farms.
I agree. No disagreement for me.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
the four of you head off. He's got dipping sauce too. Fuck me. What am I doing with my life? The four of you head north to Goodberry Farms, leaving the smoldering ruins of pies behind you. And so, let's see, there, and there. So along the way to the farm, you find no less than 3 different people who have staggered away from town and succumbed to various wounds. Like one of them is just lying flat in the middle of the trail that leads towards the farm, just dead and bloated. They've been there for 3 or 4 days. You find another person who looks like they might have starved to death. They're very, very thin, and it looks like they look almost skeletal there. And this is kind of a heartbreaker because that person looks like a young woman who's maybe only 15 or 16 years old on the trail. And then a little bit further, closer to the farm, you find a young man who has mostly been eaten. He looks like he's been torn about in half, and something has feasted on his entrails and left like.
So they're out here too.
Yeah, his face is left behind with like this horrified expression. But Zartet, taking a look at it, something big took a bite out of this guy.
No. This is traumatic.
Yeah, all of you are somewhat traumatized by these experiences. Roll for insanity. No, you don't actually have to. You're made of sterner stuff than that.
So,
I'm
I have an
soldiering
observation
on.
about
Mhm.
the corruption. After a while, it must run out of things to corrupt. So therefore, can we sort of see a direction of travel, sort of like how you would maybe inspect a fire where a fire started and traveled? Can we sort of see where the corruption might have started or is going?
Because as far as you can see, everything is fucked up in every direction.
Okay.
All right. So you
Fucked
continue.
up as far as the eye can see.
You continue running. If you'd like to continue on, despite these omens, so you move closer to Goodberry Farms, and all the familiar sights are a little bit askew and so forth. Zartet, you had left your farm in the care of the brothers Morley. There are 3 brothers, I guess, who you've come to depend on at your farm, and they were meant to take care of it on the long voyage to King Geordie's domain and just keep everything on the up and up. However, as you venture deeper into your farm, you can immediately see signs that things are wrong. The closest of your olive groves looks like nobody has been watering it. Nobody's been taking care of it. Things are overgrown. You can see wasp nests all over the place. And quickly you realize that there has been nobody to take care of your farm, and that the brothers Morley have deserted your farm, possibly soon after you left, because you're an expert in seeing what's up with your land, and you realize that these guys have just abandoned their duties, and everything is overgrown, and nothing has been tended. As you move closer, you find that there has been a general devastation of your land. Trees have been uprooted and knocked over. Once you had a coop full of chickens and so forth, and something has smashed into the chicken coop and knocked it down. There are still some bits of fluff and feather and so forth on the wind.
Do I see my goat? What was its name?
I
Billy.
don't.
Harold.
And
the
do we
goat.
see like chickens? Like, can we tell by the age of the decay of the corpses approximately how long ago this happened?
It looks like something has shattered the chicken coop within the last 4 or 5 days or so. So as you move closer to the homestead, your worst fears are realized, and your home is nothing but a burned out shell. The groves around it have been uprooted and destroyed. Something has torn down trees and knocked them over and uprooted them. And in general, everything around you looks like somebody has just intentionally gone through and smashed as much as they possibly could. And it's almost difficult for you to figure out what might have done this. As you walk up to your home, expecting to see your cherished possessions and your keepsakes and the mementos of a long life, you find that the entire structure has collapsed. And everywhere around you, there is just this sort of beastly smell. Let's see. It reminds you of like working with pigs. Just everything has been rooted up and like covered with garbage, and there's spore everywhere. It's this is not the place that you left behind. The farm is in ruins.
Sweaty pig nuts.
So, Zartet, you know that there is a root cellar that was a little bit off of your property, not directly under the house, but sort of a cellar where sometimes you would take shelter from the coastal cyclones that sometimes rise up and down the coast here. This is an area where tornadoes run through from time to time. So that's a little bit north of your house there, built into a hill, and it's actually in a rock salt cave that you found there. And it's not very deep, but you know that it's there. And as you're looking there, you can see that something has smashed down the door to it, and there are deep hoof prints headed towards it.
Just laughing at puppy here.
Yeah. Look at this character. What a good dog. Oh, what a G. So anyhow,
But we've all been on this farm, correct?
yes, you've all been on this farm.
Yeah, I'm devastated. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is terrible.
Sorry about your farms, Artet.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all of you were hoping that you would find some kind of that you would be able to like stock up on food and everything, but it just looks like everything, like the storehouses have been wrecked. The apiaries are in ruins. The press has been knocked over. One fortunate thing is that the house does not seem to have been burned down like everything else has. It just looked like something knocked it over and smashed into it and shattered everything there. And as you're looking at the general sort of destruction in the area, it all seems to lead towards that root cellar in the salt cave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did I ever, considering my particular past with this particular farm, store or create a cache? You know what I mean?
No. Nothing that would remain at this point there. So you're familiar with the cellar, though. It's where Zartet used to keep his wine and his casks of olive oil and his preserves and any kind of foodstuffs sort of to keep there. And then, there used to be a drying shed for the fish that you guys caught and smoked. There used to be so many things on this farm, like a little barn for animals and so forth. And you just don't see any sign of livestock, and everywhere you look where there should have been something that was living, it's been torn up or destroyed.
Well, I can go take a look in there. I can sneak up on it and
Yeah, we should
out
inspect
the
the
cellar.
cellar.
Okay. So who wants to
Or-
go and inspect the cellar?
Actually, I'm still invisible, I
Well,
believe.
Coons
so
Yeah,
I
you
can-
are.
still invisible.
Coons
Yeah,
is
yeah,
invisible,
totally.
yeah.
So,
one of you might have to
Smile,
open
are
the
you
door
there?
silently.
Coons?
Yeah, I will attempt to move silently with Coons.
Okay. So you try to
maybe
shadow
front of
the invisible magician as you move forward. As you two move forward, you smell the smell of like feces and rot and just a beastly musk as you're moving forward. That actually, both of you have to take a Constitution check. Give me your numbers.
16.
Okay. Logic.
12.
Logic. You two edge closer to the root cellar and find that there's no door left. Something has smashed it wide open, and even the passageway that leads down into the root cellar seems like something enormous has like wormed its way through it. But as you get closer, the smell just overwhelms you. It's too much. Even after smelling like the devastation in pies, it is just a foul stench.
Oh, I back up.
Do we hear any
before
noises
you can,
coming
before
from it?
you can back up, you lose it and begin to vomit. It just overwhelms you, and as you're vomiting, you hear coming out of the root cellar this like this deep bass grunting sound. Kunz, you see that Logic has lost his breakfast, and you also hear the deep guttural grunt coming from the salt.
All right, I'm going to signal to Angie for her to prepare the poison arrows. I have a
don't believe that
sneaking
you guys had
suspicion.
time to prepare poison.
Yeah, we
arrows.
didn't do it.
Yeah.
I think she could do it right now. Now sounds like a great time.
I'm going to
Get as
withdraw.
much of
So
that
I
poison.
will just like remind you that this poison is a powder, and that none of you know what it exactly is. You're only distantly aware that it's poison. Like not one of you were able to figure out what
Wet
it was.
down and
Yeah, and you don't know if it's water soluble or anything. You do not have time to poison an arrow at the moment.
I try to withdraw, even though I'm yakking.
Okay, yeah, you stagger away in between sort of dry heaves right there. You realize that this may be too much for you. Okay, so Kuntz, you're the one that can act right now. You hear a sound coming from the root cellar. And
Well,
a terrible
I
stench
believe
comes
it's
through.
probably a large creature, maybe a worm or pig. So I don't want to alert it. I'm going to fall back to my group,
Okay.
and maybe we'll have a quick huddle here.
So as you're stalking away, you can hear the sound of heavy steps from within that. You have drawn the ire of the beast. So it's moving towards you, and you can hear
Do I
the
hear that?
sounds of snapping planks and something scrambling up towards you. Logic, you can also hear that.
So I want to scramble up. I want to signal to them that there's something in there, and I want to scramble up above the top of the cellar entrance.
Okay. So you are recovering from a bout of intense nausea. Let's see if you are able to scramble up in spite of it. All right. So the sort of adrenaline cuts through your nausea, and so the cellar is built into sort of a rocky face. It's kind of a cave there. So you're able by grasping at branches and able to like heave yourself up onto the top of this structure, just in time to see an enormous hog burst free from there, and it barely fits through the salt cave right there. It has to worm its way out, and you can feel the ground shaking beneath your feet as you move towards there. The rest of you see this terrible beast emerge from there, and something is just as it was with the people back at town, with the gulls. Something has gone terribly wrong with this hog.
Do I have a shot at it with a dagger while it's barreling its way out of the tunnel?
You could throw a dagger at it, but I'm not sure that it would have much effect on sort of the bristly hide of it and so forth. This thing is here; it's larger than a dagger will do much to, but you have the option to throw a dagger at it on a reflex if you would like.
Well, I mean, if my instinct is that it won't do anything, then I won't do that. But I will
So
yell.
as it's emerging,
coming," or
because you
whatever,
took
know.
the time to prepare to climb up to this guy and so forth, you can do a couple of two things right here. You can attempt to throw a dagger at it, and maybe it'll have an effect. You could try to jump down onto its back with your short sword, or you can just watch it run past.
Yeah.
Does it look rideable?
Man. How big is this thing? Right.
This hog that you're moving towards there is probably about a little bit larger than a bull. It's bigger than an ox.
I don't think you want to ride that, my friend.
We could all ride on it.
Okay.
But it's like
you might have the chance.
javelina.
You might have the chance
Well, if I
because
jump
it's
on it,
charging
and
towards
carry
you.
my sword into its back, and then roll away, which is supposedly my specialty, I think I'm going to do that just because that's what I would do.
So you're gonna leap. You're gonna leap and try to just jump down and run your sword through its back. I applaud your courage, Logic. However, the pig is much too fast. You try to leap down onto it, but you are surprised. You are surprised by its speed as it. The thing is that as it's moving out, it's worming its way through, just trying to fit through the narrow walls of the cave. But as soon as it breaks free, it rushes into a charge, and so you actually fall down right behind it, and actually get kicked by it as it's moving forward. So
Logic's dead again.
It is another critical. Another
it very
one.
nearly might be. So you catch a hoof for your trouble. You are sorely wounded by this hoof. It's terrible. It's dicey terrible. It unfortunately hits you hard in the stomach, and you feel a lurching feeling. Something is terribly wrong. Logic, you take 6 points of damage. And you are currently incapacitated, and most likely bleeding internally. You may have broken a rib.
Okay.
Or
well,
more than one rib. Yeah.
I still have hit points, so.
You still have hit points, but
this time,
for the moment, all the wind is knocked out of you. You just caught a hoof, like a hardcore hoof in the gut.
Sorry, guys.
So the rest of you can see an enormous pig bursting out of there, and as you're, for a moment, you can just see its angry yellow eyes glaring at you, and is snorting, and his crooked snout has 4 tusks. One of them is cracked and chipped, but the other 4 are curving out from its face. Oof, it's not a pretty sight. Pretty sight.
I believe I'm gonna ditch invisibility and cast magic missile.
Okay.
At the hog.
So you are off to the side, Kunz. You took off there. So you can cast magic missile. It's surging past you, and as you're casting the spell, you're able to fire it into its flank. How many missiles do you get to send right now?
I believe 2.
Okay, and they're D4 plus 1, right? I got the D4
yes,
right in the palm of my hand.
Yes.
So you guys can hear chanting in the background, and Kunz fires off a spell. Unfortunately, your arcane bolts have a difficult time. You can see them zap it in its rear end, but the hog seems to not even feel it for the most part. They strike their target unerringly, but you'll need something more to bring this giant down. So Angie and Zartet, you saw Logic leap, and tragically didn't go so well for them. So the two of you have a chance to act. There is a gigantic hog charging at the two of you.
I'm gonna get my sword out for sure.
Okay. So Angie, you're drawing your sword. Zartet, what are you up to?
I, I don't think druids have any like special empathy towards animals. I mean, they do
No.
if they have those spells, but I think rangers just have a innate, you know, way to deal with like wild creatures, right?
So I will tell you that, like, just from first look at this guy, there is something. This is not a regular hog.
Not a
They do
regular
not.
animal.
This is like
Yeah.
the
It had
seagull.
4
Yeah,
snouts, I think.
just
Moving
the same way
animal.
that the seagull has been corrupted. This guy with his 4 tusks and this crazy look in its eyes and its unusual size, something has happened to this creature as well. It's also been corrupted.
Well, I'm just trying to, dodge out of its way then. I'm
Okay,
gonna try
so
to get in
yeah,
its way.
so you're
Respecting
taking
nature as a
you're
druid.
taking no other action but to try
Sweetie.
to add to your dodge. So I
Sweetie.
will.
Mhm.
Yeah. What are you saying there, cunts?
Sorry, glitch knocked over the camera.
As you
She
will.
sometimes goes behind my monitor.
Okay. So Zartet, very good that you get out of its way as quickly as you possibly can. So Angie, it's charging towards you. You have an option to try and strike it and dodge out of its way.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, the pig is just a little bit faster than you are. It rushes towards you, and before you can get your sword off at it, it slashes at you with its 4 tusks, and you get caught and flung quite some distance.
Damn.
You take 8 points of damage.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a wickedly hooked claw. And let's see if you're able to hang on to your sword. You are able to hang on to your sword, but just barely. But you are grievously wounded there. So now, Zartet and Kuntz, you have the ability to act. Logic, you are still recovering from having the wind knocked out of you, but you will be able to act after Zartet and Kuntz.
Am
I
I pretty
cognizant
close
of what's
to Logic? Can I get a dagger off of him? Because he has 2.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're close enough to grab one of his daggers.
All right. I'll do that while Zartet figures something out.
Okay,
else.
what do you got,
out here.
Zartet?
Entangle.
Okay, you're going to try and cast Entangle on the hog. All right.
Trying to
Now,
hold this thing down.
yeah. So Entangle is meant to deal with creatures much smaller than this hog. Fortunately,
Can I go like for its legs?
well, yeah, like even so, it's just like a much bigger creature than you normally would have to. So it's going to take a superior effort of will. What is your wisdom, Zartet?
14.
14. Okay. You have to stop and concentrate. And you can see the many roots, even though the olive trees around you have been blasted and shattered and so forth, their roots are still alive, and they're roots that you have tended for many years. This place was barren before you got here, and this pig is on your home turf. So thick, gnarly roots shoot out of the ground and snake around its trotters and pull it down to the ground, immobilizing it. So, Angie, you are bleeding quite severely. Kunz, you have dagger in hand, and Logic, you are up on your feet. Each of you has the ability to attack the pig before it can respond.
I will definitely
So
attack
I'm gonna
the pig.
make.
Go for it,
Yeah,
Logic.
I'm gonna attempt to backstab it.
Okay. Let's see.
Can myself and Logic do some sort of distraction attack?
You're
So
invisible.
Logic, you fueled by your anger at the serious blow that you took. Because the pig is so large, you're able to perform a backstabbing action with your short sword. And you're able to rush up behind it and thrust your short sword into its vitals, scoring a critical hit. Normally, a critical hit would do double damage. However, at this point, you do quad damage
Wow.
because you're fighting a
You got it
enormous pig.
Right in the spot. Hell yeah.
So you manage.
You're
However,
like Rambo.
your 46 damage winds up doing, unfortunately, a scant 8 points of damage to the pig. At the same point, it's just the
Hey,
sword.
8 is 8.
The sword is just so much smaller than this giant hog. It's like you're stabbing into a wall of flesh. And even though you feel like you've punctured something vital, it's going to take some time for it to channel through the pig. So the pig lets out a horrible squeal, but is obviously still alive. Kuntz, you're the next one to act.
Is the sword still stuck in the pig, or did he take the sword back?
He took the sword back, and then Angie still has hands on her sword.
All right, I'm going to try to thrust the dagger in the same wound opening on the back of the pig.
Ooh, that's a called shot right
maybe,
there.
Maybe use the hammer, sort of like a nail, and
So,
Like
Kuntz,
wrestling
you
move.
are so caught up in the idea of trying to stab an existing wound that you, unfortunately, you falter and don't manage to make it through the pig's thick hide. Yeah, it was you got a little too excited there. So, Angie, you have recovered. And you're angered by this pig. You see that it is held down by lashing vines and twisting roots, but it's starting to
I
break
was
free.
stabbed in the head.
You're going for the head? Okay. So you rush forward and stab. You try to stab it in the head, but it whips its head up and deflects your blade away with its tusk. However, the keen blade of Bisbee chops right through the tusk, and it lets out a horrible squeal as you have chopped off one of its tusks right there.
Wow.
So Zartet is taking a tremendous effort of will to hold this pig down, and you can feel like your skull is splitting from the effort. But you can attempt to maintain your spell of entanglement if you'd like to, taking a constitution check, or you can let it go and face the pig.
I got nothing else. I'm going to do
Okay.
that.
You're going to try and do it? What's your constitution?
Constitution is a 13.
Unfortunately,
Ooh,
Um,
no.
even though you're on your home territory and so forth, you can feel that the spell is slipping away from you. You concentrate all of your will and manage to hold the pig for an additional second as it starts to wheel towards you. And you can see in its hateful eyes that it knows that you are the one that has captured it, and it's angered by you.
course.
So, Logic, you have another attempt to attack.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh man. I'm gonna take a momentary fucking look around the battlefield.
As a
Just to
free
make
action,
this
can
is
I
the
s-
only thing.
Right.
Sorry, Logic,
Zartet.
real quick. As a free action, can I say, like, go for the neck?
Yeah, you can absolutely say, like, I can't hold him long, or go for the neck, or anything that you would like to. What do you say?
Okay.
Yeah, I say that.
In that
Can't go for
case-
long.
In that case, yep, I'm gonna attempt, since he's distracted, to
Mhm.
backstab him again.
Okay, so you cannot backstab him again. Backstabs have to be from stealth. And the creature is aware that you're there and so forth. However, you do have a good opportunity to go for an attack. What are you trying to attack?
Sure.
Are you
I'm gonna do a called shot
Mhm.
into the same wound.
okay? So, unlike Kuntz, you have tremendous experience attacking weak points. Right, this is something that you've trained for and so forth. And while you originally were not able to do tremendous harm to the pig, the second blow is far more telling. You're able to drive your sword in all the deeper, and there is a horrible wrenching sound from the hog. And this time, all manner of gore and viscera gush forward. You have touched on something very dear to it. Angie, you have a second attempt to attack. The pig, however, is close enough to try and bite you. However, its jaws snap shut just inches away from your nose, and you have a chance to retaliate.
Can I cut off its tusks?
You have already cut off one of its tusks, and another one is broken there. So it has kind of like the two tusks going, whatever. You can try to cut off its tusks, or you can just try to attack it with your sword. Whatever
Okay,
you
I'm just
prefer.
gonna try to kill it. Let's just kill it.
Okay.
Kill this pig.
So, Angie, once again, you go for a strike, but its hide is so thick. Even the sharp blade of Bisbee is turned aside by the
no.
crazy movements and so forth. And Kunz, you have one last chance to attack before
Yes.
Zartet's spell
I'm
expires.
gonna use my hammer to attack one of the 2 remaining tusks.
Okay, so you rush up and try to smash it in the face with a hammer.
With the claw side. The claw side.
Unfortunately, you miss it entirely. It's smashing and thrashing around and so forth. So the hog, sorely wounded, has broken free and turned towards Zartet. And Zartet, he is trying to rush at you and trample you. You attempt to dodge out of the way of this behemoth. However, he's so badly wounded that it can't see straight. And so as it's rushing towards you, you realize you can just step aside, and it charges completely away from you and smashes into the foundation of your house instead. It's apparently like blinded with pain and rage, and it deals itself a pretty significant knock to the head and smashes into the house. So Logic, now you have an opportunity to follow up. It's really late.
Yeah. How wounded does this thing look? I mean, how?
It's just a giant hog. It's really difficult to tell. Like, you know that you have punctured something inside of it, but it's still moving around.
I'm gonna take this split second to do a tactical evaluation of the scene and to make sure that we're not being surrounded by, you know what I mean? Like, how much noise are we generating? Like, what time of day is it?
It would be very difficult to get a as you're facing off with like a giant pig. Right now, everything is happening for you guys in bullet time, so it would be very difficult to survey the surroundings.
I want to go up and hit it again.
Okay.
In the same one of its injuries.
It's going to be actually like quite difficult for you as the pig is wheeling around to try and strike an injury. I think you just have to take what you can get at this point. Let me see what you can do. So unfortunately, like, you can press an advantage, and then you can press an advantage too hard, right? So as you rush forward, trying to hit the same spot, the pig has been watching you this whole time, and he anticipates your maneuver and manages to catch you with a tusk and gore you.
Oh.
So Logic, you take 5 points of damage, and you are flung aside like a rag doll and hit the ground quite hard, some 15, 20 feet away. How many hit points do you have remaining?
Precisely 1.
Precisely 1. So
That's all you need, friend.
You're also bleeding at the moment. So you guys see Logic just flung aside and terribly injured here. Kunz, you have the opportunity to act.
I'm going to take my dagger this time and try to stab it in the tusk, in the face.
You're like one of the more combat-y mages that I've run into at this point.
I got one spell, guys. I got one spell.
Okay. So you attempt to stab the pig in the face, but really this kind of fighting is not your forte. And you just manage to pull your hand back before it can bite your hand off. So, Zartet, you have the opportunity to act. You're a little bit shaken by the effort of maintaining the entangle spell, but you can act if you'd like to.
You got a heal spell there, Zartet?
Yeah, I guess I'll spend my turn. How far away is Logic from me?
You could dash up to him and cast a
seen
spell if
him,
you want
like,
to.
get
Yeah,
tossed
he's
aside
in
and gored, right?
tough shape, man. So Zartet,
Can
you
he
rush up to
throw
him.
me a berry?
Well, he has I think a healing spell as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do
So
have cure. Yeah, I do.
yeah. So you're casting Cure Light Wounds on Logic. How much does that heal for?
1 second. Got it written down here.
Yeah, sorry, man. I keep doing that.
I like that even in like the
This
thick
is what I
of
say.
yeah
1d8.
1d8. All right. Let's see. So um so logic even in the thick of battle, Zartet is at your side, and you can feel revitalization surging through your body, and you are healed for 5 hit points, bringing you back from death's door, and closing up the wounds that were so sorely beating. So Angie, you can see that the pig has a special hate for Zartet, and it is pawing the ground and preparing to charge him once more. You have the opportunity to act before it charges again.
Yeah, I want to go attack that thing.
All right, so with Bisbee's sword, you rush forward,
Oh, no.
and unfortunately, you're not able to score a telling wound on the pig, but you do open up a cut on its leg just above its knee, right there. So Zartet, the pig, is charging you once again. Okay, and this time you've been able to dodge out of its way thus far, but this time it has you squarely in its sights. The pig plows into you and smashes into you, forehead first, and you suffer 12 points of damage and are flung to the ground. So yeah, this is a staggering wound, and when you attempt to rise to your feet, you're seeing double, and the world is moving around you. It feels like you're hungover and you have the spins there. So you guys see Zartet flung aside, and the pig is rushing in, swinging its tusk, trying to finish him off. Kuntz, you have the ability to act first.
I'm gonna try to save Zartet, maybe via distracting the pig, angering the pig.
Okay. How will you do that?
Am I behind the pig? Is the pig's
You're behind the
butt to
pig.
me?
Yeah, all of you are behind the pig right there. You can see it rushing towards Zartet to finish him off.
I'm essentially gonna, with both hands, grab its tail and put like one foot up, and I'm gonna
And at the same
pull as
time,
hard
since he's
as
literally
possible.
standing over me,
Right, him
since
first.
he's
Wait,
literally
him
standing
first.
over me and just killed me,
Him first, and then you're gonna get a chance in just a second because you're still recovering from the pig. So, Kuntz, you're trying to grab the pig by its tail.
Just trying to anger it so it maybe kicks me or something.
Okay, actually,
Takes,
surprisingly, you
focus away
are
from Zartet.
super annoying to the pig there. It does not like having its tail grabbed, and it tries to kick at you with its one leg, but you had seen it do the same thing to Logic, and it doesn't have like very long legs and so forth. So you're able to just edge out of it, and you actually succeed in distracting it momentarily, long enough for you to act Logic.
Since he's standing right over me, I'm gonna grab Zartet, I don't know, in like a fireman's carry, and run for cover.
Okay. So you try to rush out of the way with Zartet. It's not very effective. Like the two of you are both fairly injured, so you wind up sort of stumbling over each other, and you're not out of the woods yet. You realize swiftly that you have to turn and fight, but because of your abortive attempt right there, you will have to wait a little bit. So Angie, you are the last one with the ability to act.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to keep.
You're going
I'm
after the
hoping
pig
it's
again.
Save us, Angie.
I'm so sick of this pig.
Okay. Still, you run after it once again, and unfortunately, you just can't manage to land a solid hit on this pig. You keep trying and keep trying, but it's just so slippery and so enraged. And because it's not a natural creature. Like the way that it moves is not the way that a pig moves, and all your instincts are wrong trying to hit this guy. So unfortunately, you miss your attack. The pig, distracted, charges once again. This time, wheeling on Kuntz, and it is not happy about what you've done to its tail. It doesn't like that one bit.
Fuck your tail.
It smashes into you and does 7 points of damage, and sinks. It winds up actually biting you pretty hard on the thigh, almost taking a chunk out of you.
Could you hit it in the face with one of those poison packets, or could I hit it?
I was
in the
gonna
face?
say, throw it in the big wound. Throw it in the big wound.
Yeah.
Throw the poison.
Yeah,
I don't.
exactly.
You can. So Kunz, as it bites down on your thigh, you have an option to take an attack with your claw hammer if you would like.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
You knew I wasn't turning down that.
Unfortunately,
Oh,
as powerful as the claw hammer is, it deflects off of that thick skull of this guy. So Angie, you missed your last attack, and you're chasing after it and running up to it. Would you like to take another swing?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Again, you falter.
God damn it, Angie.
Yeah. Sometimes you got it, and sometimes you don't. So Logic, you see it take a terrible bite out of Kuntz, but now it's
I'm gonna
distracted.
say,
So
yeah, I'm gonna say to Zarte, give me the poison, give me the poison.
okay. So you
All right.
okay?
So he gives me some poison, and I'm gonna do a Starship Troopers move and
Mhm.
run up on the pig
Yeah.
and literally thrust this packet into its gut or wherever,
Okay.
any wound, I don't care, and just pull one of those moves.
All right.
and then
You
run
attempt to do a dust attack on the pig, flinging this packet of poison into it. So you run up on it and fling poison at it, but you're unable to see if it's effective. And honestly, the pig is bleeding quite a bit anyway. Unfortunately, the blood is moving in the wrong direction right here. Not like sucking poison into it, but pouring blood out of it. So in a way that your own handiwork has kind of undone you there. Zartet, you attempt to what are you up to now? You can see that Kuntz has been hurt. You can see that Logic has attempted to like dust this pig with poison. It hasn't worked out.
Yeah, what's the pig doing right now?
So the pig just bit Kuntz, and it looks like it's going after him again because he angered it by pulling its tail.
We have a silver ring and silver powder.
Yeah, is the silver ring doing anything?
You could try to attack it too. Like, don't you have some kind of weapon?
Yeah, I have a spear.
Yep.
Um,
Spears are pretty good versus
Just
pigs.
can't-
You want
can't
to go for this?
attacking.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it.
All right. So Zartet, angered at seeing his friends attacked and fallen. Holy shit! Just FYI.
Combo breaker. Oh,
See that right there?
nice.
Damn, son, come into focus. So, where others have failed, Zartek succeeds. Taking the spear
Hell yeah.
that you all took from Bisbee, you have had enough of this mutated hog's bullshit. You drive the spear right through its eye and into its brain. Its entire body convulses, and you see that you have scored a fatal blow. The hog tries to whip its head away to get away from the blow, but there is no escaping this attack. You have slain the monster hog, and it crumbles to the ground with a tremendous slam against the earth. The despoiler of your farm is no more, and you have avenged yourself. Damn.
I begin looting
20.
the pig.
The pig has no loot to speak of right there. Yeah,
I want to stomp on his face.
yeah. You guys
Got him.
just see Zartet annihilate this pig. It is
Yeah.
it's like he's Achilles or something like that.
I like twist the spear, make sure it's like really dead.
There ain't no coming back. So
Yep.
now you can take a closer look at this pig, and you notice that it's just it's completely covered with musculature that a hog would never have, right?
Mhm.
Every surface on the pig is just bristling with these bloated, pulsing muscles, and as it's bleeding out, this sort of red fluid snakes out of it and moves along the ground like worms seeking another host. And you can see that the pig too has been corrupted. All right, so everybody is fairly hurt right here. People who are sorely injured right now, include Logic is still fairly injured. Kuntz is injured. Angie, did you get hit at all during this fight?
I did. I'm down to 10 hit points, I
Yeah.
believe.
So everybody is fairly hurt right here.
Is anybody bleeding actively?
I believe Angie was. Somebody was.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah,
had
I
one
was.
hit point and was bleeding.
So
That was Logic.
Yeah, Logic had one
Okay.
hit point, but then he was helped out by
Oh,
Zartet
right.
there.
I didn't treat myself. I'm gonna take a good
Yeah.
berry.
All right, so you may
Yeah,
want to
I
pass
wanna
out
take
some
my
good
berry.
berries. How many good berries do you have? And like, how many do you want to distribute?
We had
I
4,
gave
but
Angie
Zartet
one.
ate them all.
I had one.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you would
gave Angie
definitely
one.
like eat a good berry right now. So good berries heal for how much?
1 hit point.
1 hit point each. Okay, so everybody eat as many berries as you feel like. Heal up the hit
But
points
it
that you want.
gives a sensation as if you like had a full meal.
Mm-hmm.
How many berries should I eat? How many do I have?
I will give you 1, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
I will eat it.
And
Yeah,
now
will
I have
one.
6.
You have
If
10?
All right, and I'll give Logic 1.
Mm-hmm.
I have 5 now. I had 7.
Did you take one yourself?
I have 4.
Zartet, you gave me one before.
That's correct.
Before we ran
Yeah.
ahead on the trails.
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
Okay. So everybody eats a good berry and feels somewhat sustained. Kunz, did you eat one?
I did eat one.
Okay.
Maybe I should take a second one just to keep for safekeeping for maybe the next
Yeah.
fight or something.
Okay. So Kunz, as you eat the one, you notice that that like burning feeling that you had on your scalp and that like strange fatigue that you were feeling all day seems to dissipate a little bit. Yeah, the good berries have really done you good right there.
Mm.
So as you guys are sort of licking your wounds and so forth, you can hear the sounds of armor clinking and boots approaching. The legionnaires have followed you to Zartet's farm, and they're not far away. Right there, they're almost.
It's got to be
upon you.
that ring
We can
Zartet
just hear
has.
them. Can we see them?
It's like a homing ring.
And if you look up the road, you can see a solid cohort of 15 legionnaires headed straight for you. And here our adventure ends for the night. So,
Ah!
all right, well done, everybody. You managed to slay the monster pig. And everybody, you don't gain a level yet, actually, because you will need a chance to rest and recoup on your adventures. And the legionnaires are almost upon you. So good luck with that. We'll have to find out next weekend if you can make it away or if you can deal with 15 legionnaires when you've almost been annihilated by this monster pig. So thank you to everybody who watched. And thank you guys for taking some time out to play there. Congratulations to Angie, Kuntz, Logic, and Zartet the Hog Slayer. Hell yeah. Gangsta.
Good job, Zartet.
Slaying pigs.
Yeah.